So we're making macaroons.
We're making macarons.
Isn't it the same thing?
It's,
Tomato, tomato?
It can be.
Yeah?
No.
We are making macarons today that are themed for 4th of July. They are not to be mistaken with macaroons, I learned. No. These are macarons, not macaroons.
Macaron is 1-0, and it's these fun little French cookies.
Okay.
Made with almond flour, powdered sugar. It's like a meringue and a cookie mixed together. Where a macaroon is those coconut haystacks.
I've been saying it wrong all this time. Today our theme is 4th of July, since that's right around the corner. And what do you associate with 4th of July aside from America and American flags? Fireworks. So we're going to be theming our macarons as fireworks. The fun factor for these ones, specifically for 4th of July, we're wrapping in some nostalgia here and dipping them in Pop Rocks. So it's not only a surprise for your party, it's a surprise for your mouth. But this recipe could be applied to basically any day. A holiday, an event, a celebration, a Wednesday. It doesn't matter, everyone likes a macaron. It's a nice surprise, they're delicious.
We're gonna start by separating those 3 eggs.
Okay.
So whites are gonna go into this bowl of your stand mixer with your whisk attachment.
All right.
And then the yolks can just pop right back in here.
Cool. I have done this before, back when it was like that whole myth that you shouldn't eat egg yolks. But I haven't done it in a long time, so I might
So we'll
suck.
see.
That's decent. Do you have like a special way of doing this?
No.
I bet you have like a fast way.
No, that's it.
All right.
And you can't have any bit of yolk into
Okay.
your egg whites.
Okay.
Not even like a microscopic fiber.
Why? What happens?
It's just too heavy. So we're gonna whip up the egg whites really, really, really nice to what they call stiff peaks instead of a soft peak.
I've tried this before by
Uh-oh.
hand. This is a pretty intense recipe for a novice like me to take on because an expert like Danielle, who owns her own bakery, rated it an 8 on the difficulty scale. An 8. That is really close to a 10.
Before we start, because it's kind of like a simultaneous kind of process. You kind of want to do it all together because meringue becomes very time sensitive.
Okay.
So as soon as you whip it, you need to be folding it.
Does everyone put some almond flour in theirs? Or
Yes, yes,
Really?
everybody.
So I'm just combining these, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And then you're going to whisk them together very nicely. So another tip, we're not going to do it today. These guys will come out just fine. But if you throw this into a food processor for about 30 seconds and then put it through a sieve a couple of times, it just keeps getting finer and finer and finer and more broken down, which is why these guys are so smooth.
Put the egg whites into a cake beater until it starts to get frothy, and then you start adding your sugar. Keep beating it in the cake mixer until it gets so thick that it kind of comes to a point when you pull it out. I'm getting information that beaters are shaped differently, and so I was using more of a whisk, but you know what? I never said that I was an expert. So you add the coloring for the meringue before you add the powder.
Yes. A little bit goes a long way, but because this is black, we have to add a lot. When we are combining the almond flour mixture into the meringue, you can overfold it or underfold it. It has to be just right, or else your macarons will either look like puddles or these really hard, tall shell.
This is the kind of baking that scares me.
Exactly.
Remember, I told you, I'm not good at the
Exactly.
science part. Screw the sugar, screw the milk, screw however you're supposed to stir the thing, like just combined. Cooking is so much easier.
Add approximately 1/2 of that mixture into here.
Okay. The next step was to take your meringue, which has already been dyed, and pour in your almond flour and powdered sugar mixture. I attacked the mixing of the combination of all of these ingredients by just, your regular mixing, and that was wrong. Apparently, you want to lift and then push against. The powdered sugar and the flour get really mixed in. I think it's a quicker way to do it, but it's also a really great arm exercise.
My favorite thing that I've learned is as soon as you can make a figure 8 with the batter without it breaking, it's done.
Okay, should I try the 8?
Try the 8.
Hasn't broken.
I think it's done.
Is this like the hardest step in this recipe to get perfect? Like
Yes.
what was it that you always messed up on?
that part.
Once everything is folded in together and you got that nice little 8 shape, you are gonna spoon it into a frosting bag that already has a circular tip in it, and you're just gonna dollop it onto some parchment paper. You'll want them smaller than the size you're actually going for because they will flatten out. But I also saw that Danielle had mini macarons in the store, so you can also make mini ones, or you could just go crazy and make gigantic ones. Size doesn't matter. But you do have to make sure that you pair it up with one that has a matching size.
Okay, so now you see how they're all dolloped up like that.
Yes.
We're gonna like bang it a little bit. You can either bang it on the countertop, or you can just like...
When you pipe them, you're obviously gonna get kind of like a little peaked or kissed remnant of your pipe, and banging them will have them spread a little bit and will get rid of that little peak. The amount of time you need to let the macaron mixture sit on the parchment paper really just depends on where you live. I'm currently in Arizona, so the weather is hot and it's dry, so it took about, I would say, 10 to 12 minutes. In Florida or somewhere humid, it's probably gonna take a little bit longer because there's moisture in the air, but what you wanna look for is a top of the macaron that is sticky, but when you put your finger on it and you lift it up, there's no remnants on your finger.
Feel that?
Yeah, it's like a little almost rubbery.
A little bit,
yeah. But nothing sticks.
If you do have these little pockets, you can always take a little bit of water and wet your fingertip and then just press it down a little bit. There is a couple things on the internet that say crack your oven a little bit, or halfway through, rotate them. That's accurate. You should rotate them halfway through. Cracking your oven, I've never done that, and they've been fine.
All right. Let's pop these babies in. If you don't know the temperature of your oven, it's so important for making macarons correctly. Start at 250 and just kind of check on the macarons. You can always up the heat a little bit. And you also wanna pop those in for 13 to 18 minutes. Don't pass 18 minutes. If you're going to like 22 minutes, you're probably burning. So you just like check at 13 minutes?
Yeah.
So what are you checking for?
I check to see if the top is a little wiggly still.
Okay.
And then I also just take it out of the oven, let it sit for about 1.5 to 2 minutes, and then if it starts peeling up really nicely off of the mat, they're done. Do you see how nice and smooth and glossy that is?
Yeah.
I mean, they just peel right up and it's so nice. So then once they come out and they're cool, each macaron has their own little soulmate in life. So these fit together
so you have to
way
find
better
it.
than these fit together. You know, it's like relationships.
Right. You gotta find what fits
You gotta
the
find
best.
the one. All right, so now we're gonna go buttercream. I have to go grab something that's gonna make this really easy. I thought it was right there, but I will be right
stand here
back.
and not eat all of the macarons. Or I will. For these macarons that we made, we're just putting buttercream inside. So that's literally just butter and powdered sugar beat together in a cake mixer. But we did color our buttercream, and we actually did it in quite a fancy way. We separated the buttercream out into 3 sections, dyed one blue and one red. And then we lined them up on saran wrap, a line of blue, a line of white, and a line of red, and then we folded it all over, and that was it. You fold up the sides, you cut one side, and then you're gonna put it into your frosting bag that already has the tip in it, and you've got this multi-color frosting, which is super rad. And you can do that with any colors. You can do it with 5, 6, 7 colors, go crazy.
So now we're gonna fill them. And to do that, you just do kind of like I said, the same way. So then you squish it down, and it's okay if there's a little bit that comes around the edges, because we're just going to roll them in the Pop Rocks.
And this is putting a firework in your mouth figuratively, not literally. Please do not try to do that at home. If you haven't had Pop Rocks in like a decade like me, it's gonna take you back. It's good to reminisce on the good old days of the 90s.
Okay, now the fun part.
This is like my favorite thing that I'm taking away from this is luster dust. Luster dust is just this powder. You can get it in so many different colors. We use sparkles, we used these pearly iridescent ones. Literally just like dip your fingers in and sprinkle them on, and they add so much pizzazz to your desserts. Why did I even think pizzazz?
You can't just go to a craft store and get little paintbrushes, because a lot of the paintbrushes, the threads come out because they are on the cheaper side. Apparently people don't like that in their food. And I get that.
Weird.
I really can understand that.
Use the very specific baking brushes, otherwise you're just gonna have hair in your dessert, and That's not ideal.
I just did what I thought a firework would look like.
Okay.
You know, you've seen them as a kid so many times. And then we'll grab a little glitter.
It's on them.
We got a little
It's
firework.
beautiful.
Okay.
We're like pretty much done with these.
Keep them in the fridge. Keep them wrapped up tight when you make them. You can make them a day or two ahead of time, maybe even 3 days. Might take you 3 days to make one batch, and that's okay too.
If you get it right the first time, then you should open up a bakery, and also we have the address of our studio on our website. You can send a whole box here.
Cheers.
Cheers!
Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July in a month and a half. If you try to make macarons the first time and they don't come out right, DM me. It'll be okay. I'll give you moral support and tell you how many times I've messed it up.
So much popping. So many colors.
Yeah. Don't stress. Do it for yourself the first time. Don't try to impress anyone else. Do it with the intention of learning a new skill and try again. Practice makes perfect.